Hi, and welcome to Lunch with Lisa. And today, I'm going to tell you about my OPTAVIA story. You'll definitely want to watch this first if you're considering doing the OPTAVIA diet or joining the program as a coach. And just a disclaimer, this is all my opinion and my own experience with the program. So I was an OPTAVIA coach for 2 whole years, from February 2021 until this February 2023 when I let my membership expire. And I haven't been actively coaching the program for at least a year or more. So this is my story about how I found OPTAVIA, how I joined the program, how I did the diet, what the diet was like, all the lies and truth and everything in the matter. So I was one of those people that struggled with weight loss my entire adult life. And I had just come off a crash diet that I had done in order to lose some weight to win a competition at school. I was a teacher back then. And then of course I went back to my old ways and gained some weight back. And I noticed one of my friends who kept posting before and afters of people who did OPTAVIA. I didn't know it was OPTAVIA at the time, but people who were doing her program. She was posting photos and lots of things on Facebook. And so I kept seeing that and wondering if that could be real, if it was, true, if it was honest, and wondering if it could be me. And once I reached my wit's end with my own weight loss journey and just getting really frustrated about not knowing what to do, I saw that she was posting a scholarship because whatever she was selling, I felt like it was too expensive for me. I didn't want to go in blind. So I did look in the disclaimer section of all the photos because you're supposed to put a disclaimer if you're posting a marketing photo for OPTAVIA about the 5-in-1 plan. And I was like, what is that? So I Googled that to see if I could figure out what the program was. And I did find OPTAVIA. And I found a lot of horror stories. And I found a lot of things that didn't seem very good about the company. And I ignored all of that and just listened to my friend who said it was awesome and amazing and unlike any other MLM, of course, because she was also a coach coaching the program and she had success on it, which she had her own visual proof. Now, was she keeping the weight off? Probably a little here and there. I'm sure she was yo-yo dieting on the program. We'll get to that in a second. So one of their marketing tactics is to offer what's called a scholarship, which is just about $50 or $25 off the program, whatever they decide they want to take off the program. And it basically comes out of their own pocket. Usually distributors will do this, or coaches will do this at the end of a month when they're trying to hit a goal. And that's when she kind of hit me up. It was at the end of December and she was looking for more clients, of course. And so I took the bait, got on a phone call with her, and she was very persistent. She had learned how to do this very well, how to get you thinking about possibility and thinking about your goals and giving her program as the solution, which, great sales game. She won me over. I said yes, a little bit nervously saying yes because it was a lot of money. I think it was about $350 for a whole month of food with the $50 off from the scholarship. But that was only for my first month. And then I felt like I was kind of locked in to have to buy it again at full price. But I thought, you know what? I'm willing to do anything and put my money down and just went for it. And in doing the program, myself, I noticed a lot of lies they would put out there as marketing tactics. And I'm going to take you through 5 of those lies, maybe 6, and then tell you what the truth is in the matter. So what they will say is lie number 1, it's not a diet. Yes, it's a freaking diet. It is a diet. You restrict your calories on a diet. You eat food on a diet. Your diet is the food that you eat. It is a diet. OPTAVIA does have a diet plan. It has a few different diet plans, but really they only offer the 5-in-1 plan. And that gets you on a very, very restrictive diet. In fact, it's so restrictive that it damages your body by getting your hormones all out of whack, especially those ones that center around your food cravings and regulating sleep and so many other things that can really go wrong, starving yourself skinny. And also restricting things like you're not allowed to eat fruit on the 5-in-1 plan. So you start to, if you stay on it for a while, you start to fear fruit, like it's gonna make you fat. I remember my coach even kind of freaking out that I was eating apples one day. Oh, you're gonna get out of fat burn. It's an apple. But I started taking that on as my own. It's like, oh no, maybe apples will make me fat. I guess I better not eat the apple. Not good. Very, very much disordered eating and thinking about food as the enemy, or thinking about things that don't serve you right now, so you're choosing something differently, like eating bread. Like bread. Why would you? Okay, no, I get it. A lot of people don't eat bread right now, but it's not going to make you fat. No one food is going to make you fat. No one food is going to kill your diet. I digress. That brings me to the lie number 2 that they put out there a lot in their marketing. They'll show like a recipe and it'll be like a big plate of food, or the whole recipe of food that's supposed to be like 4 servings or 6 servings. And they'll say, look how much food we get to eat. We get to eat so much food, we eat 6 meals a day. You eat 6 times a day, but you don't eat 6 meals a day. The truth to that marketing is you don't eat a lot of food. What you do is you purchase Fuelings from OPTAVIA, which are these little packets of powdered food. They could be like potatoes, soups, protein powders, bars, little packets of snacks that taste awful like cardboard, different things like that. But it's mostly just protein powder based, and it's got lots of soy, lots of vitamins and minerals and stuff, but also packed with like hydrogenated oil, high fructose corn syrup, things that I was avoiding at the time, and looking at the ingredients going, why would I eat these? But I just trusted the process and kept at it. And of course, you eventually come to like them because you're starving. You're hungry. And so, yeah, you're like, oh, this is so good. When the first time you eat it, it might taste like total crap. So when someone tells you they like the OPTAVIA food, it's because they're starving, they're hungry, and they're gonna find it tastes good over time. You can adjust to anything. We're very highly flexible human beings, are very, very accommodating. So you buy your Fuelings from OPTAVIA, you eat 5 of those per day, you space them out about 3 hours, and then you pick a time for one of your 6 meals to eat a lean and green meal, which is just a pretty large serving of protein, a lean protein, like let's say chicken breast. So like 7 ounces of a chicken breast. And then you pick out 3 non-starchy vegetables, or you could just pick one and have 3 servings of that. But a serving for a vegetable is like 1 cup of greens or half a cup of everything else, like half a cup of tomatoes or half a cup of cucumbers and 1 cup of spinach. That would be your salad, and 7 ounces of chicken. Yeah. Now that is a great meal. It's about 300 to 400 calories. And then you add in some fat. If you don't have a lot of fat in your chicken, then you add in some fat. Like you could add a tablespoon of dressing, or just add some olive oil and vinegar or something to your salad. Yes, that's a complete meal that works. And then you would have another Fueling for dessert. And that would be your 6 meals for the day. And then if you got really hungry, you could have a snack. But the snacks are like celery sticks or pickles. So really, you're only eating about 800 to 1,000 calories a day. That's not enough food, but it does get you an instant result. You get really fast weight loss on a starvation diet. But those diets need to be monitored by a doctor. That's way too low of calories. And then they also suggest that you do not exercise for the first 3 weeks at least. But you honestly don't want to exercise because you're so tired from not having enough calories. Which brings me to another lie I didn't think about. You're gonna have so much energy. Fat burn, you get so much energy. Yes, you get energy if you're drinking caffeine. In the first few weeks of actually getting into your starvation mode, that's what I wanna call this now, it is starvation mode, because you're taking your calories down so low that your body's kind of wondering what to do with all the hormones. And at first, you aren't that hungry because your body's dipping into its fat reserves to make up for the energy loss. But as you keep losing more and more fat, your hormones get out of whack. And I'll talk about that in a second. So when you see an OPTAVIA rep saying, or a coach saying, we eat 6 meals a day, we eat so much food, it's a lie. It's a flat out lie. It's 800 to 1,000 calories a day. Call them out on it next time. Be like, you don't eat that much food in a day. 800 to 1,000 calories is not a lot of food. Someone can eat that in 1 meal. So that brings me to the cost. If you're spending about $400 on groceries during the month, maybe about $500 now, or double that in this climate, and they tell you, oh, well, you're just gonna take that money you're spending on your groceries and put it towards your fuelings. But they're not keeping in mind that you actually do have to go to the grocery store still if you wanna feed your family or if you wanna make your lean and greens. So that $400 a month, or however much it is now, is actually a lot on top of all the groceries that you're still buying. I was still spending about $100 on groceries and that $400 a month on my fueling. So it was dipping into my cash reserves. And when you say you can't afford it, they say, oh, well, let us help you sign up some people underneath you to help pay for your fuelings. And it can quickly happen if you know the right amount of people, if people are willing to say yes, but it's really hard to do if you haven't even started the program. I can see where that could, like, people might know people and they can just put them under you kind of thing, where you're making money now and now you're a distributor and now they have a downline. So I can see some manipulation probably going on there. However, I was like flat out, no, I'm not gonna be a coach. I just wanna do this myself and then be done with it. So lie number 3 is you won't be hungry on this program. What? Maybe, like I said, in the first few weeks, you are still dipping into your fat reserves and you're telling yourself you're not hungry. You're drinking more water, but you're hungry. I don't think I ever was not hungry. Yeah, you're starving after a while. Sure, you're a little bit satiated after you have your fueling, and especially after your lean and green. That feels so good to eat. But then about 3 hours later, you're starving again. So you eat, try to slowly eat your fueling to make it last. And yes, it works, but anorexia works. Doing drugs to lose weight works. So many other bad things work to lose weight. Doesn't mean it's good for you. So what I learned to curb my cravings was to chew gum, drink hot tea at the end of the day if I was starving and wanted to go to bed, drink more water, which actually is not a good thing for you to do because it does end up flushing out your body of its nutrients. Like, you don't need to drink that much water. But it is a good idea to drink a good amount of water, especially when you're in a calorie deficit, but that is too deep of a calorie deficit. I found myself obsessed over food and thinking about food nonstop. That is one of the downsides of being in such a deep calorie deficit, is your body doesn't want to die. It doesn't want you to die. It wants to live and it wants to pack on the fat. So what it does is it makes you crave things and think about food by producing certain hormones in your body that normally you wouldn't, because it thinks you're starving to death. So I got really obsessed with peanut butter, and I was like taking spoonfuls of peanut butter here and there. And of course it slowed down my weight loss, but I mean, I was still losing maybe like a pound a week or so. But my coach was like, I wonder why your weight loss is so slow. And so I nixed it on the peanut butter. But I still obsessed over it. Couldn't stop thinking about it. And then just ending my days by drinking so much water and drinking so much hot tea at the end of the night. Of course, when I went to bed, I would wake up in the middle of the night needing to pee. And that ruined my sleep cycle. So that brings me to lie number 4. You will sleep so well on this program. Oh man, I was hoping that would kick in at some point. I already have really bad sleep being a single mom and a teacher that had to wake up early all the time. I just couldn't get good sleep, and I had a cat that would wake me up. She still does. I still have really bad sleep, but not as bad as when I was really deep in the program and losing a lot of weight. I could not sleep more than like 4 hours, sometimes less. It was kind of awful. And I was kind of a hot mess. Like, not getting enough sleep, your memory starts going. It's just not good. I was tired all the time. I didn't feel motivated to do anything. And that made my hunger even worse and my obsessing over food even worse. Ugh, not a fun time. So I was so happy when I finally met my weight goal. I made it down to 115 pounds. That was ridiculous. I'd never weighed that much. I don't think I even weighed that less in high school. And looking back on those photos, I was really skinny. Like, I was so skinny, and I didn't realize how skinny I was. And I was happy in my clothing, but I wasn't happy in any other part. Like, I was so hungry and I wanted to eat so bad, but I was afraid to eat. I was afraid to eat more food. So when you hit your weight goal, you want to transition off the program and eat more whole foods and less Fuelings. And of course, they still work in a few of their Fuelings into their menu. They want you to keep buying their product. Of course, they're a company, they want to make money. Totally makes sense. But I wanted out completely. I wanted to stop eating those. I was really tired of them because I've been doing this for 4 months. So I slowly started transitioning off, and the first week you're still in a really deep calorie deficit and you're supposed to add like a serving of vegetables. And then the next week you add a lean and green entire meal and you take out a Fueling, like for lunch. And then the next week you might add in a piece of fruit and take out another Fueling, or I don't know, you slowly dwindle it down to you're only having 3 Fuelings a day and 3 lean and greens a day, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and then 3 snacks. And they call that the 3 and 3 program. Well, I had lost so much weight, I didn't need to transition that slowly. Now I know that I just needed to eat right back at maintenance and deal with the hunger until eventually I felt satiated. But trying to transition like that, I found myself so hungry, I started binging and like would spike in weight, and it freaked me out. And then I'd go back on the program and try to start all over again after I got back down to my low weight. And eventually I decided, nah, this has got to stop. Took myself off the program, stopped buying the food, and tried to then eat the same amount of food, but whole foods. And what I started noticing was I was getting malnourished. And I knew that because my nails would not grow. They were super brittle and would break off. And I noticed my hair started looking really thin inside the sun, especially. Like I could see my scalp through my hairline. And I was like, that's weird, that's new. I was losing my hair. Like I have a ton of little baby hairs growing in now for over a year because I've been eating better. But like, it's insane how much hair growth I have now. I have more baby hair now than when I did after giving birth to my child. So I know I lost a significant amount of hair. My hair was really thin. It already is thin, but it got really scarily thin where I was like, my ponytails used to not be that tiny. So I was needlessly cold all the time, even during the hot summer months. I was struggling to figure out where my maintenance calories were. I didn't know if it was 1,500 or 2,000. I was really scared to eat more than 1,500 calories because I didn't want to gain that weight back. I had worked so hard and starved myself for so long. I was like, this weight's not coming back. So I kept starving myself needlessly. And my coach was confused why I was losing hair, why I couldn't sleep. I mean, these people are not trained professionals. Go see a doctor. Go see a nutritionist or a dietitian, even better. So what I found out through this process was I kept yo-yo dieting on the program, which brings me to line number 5. Stop yo-yo dieting. That's what they say in a lot of their marketing material, that this is gonna help you stop the yo-yo. Well, it set me off on this huge yo-yo, but on their program. And I looked up my upline and I noticed they were all yo-yo dieters. They were all losing weight, gaining it back, losing it again, gaining it back. And they kept going on and off the program. And I was like, wow, this is just a big group of yo-yo dieters. Oh my goodness, what did I get myself into? And I was so happy to just kind of like separate myself from it and took a little breather, decided this isn't something I'm going to push anymore. Stopped talking about it completely. My clients all kind of dropped off except for a couple, and they didn't need my help anymore. And I just kind of let it be, just quietly stopped involving myself. But I didn't tell you how my coach roped me into actually becoming a coach myself. So sneaky. I was sharing a lot about my journey just because I was used to marketing myself online. I had a ceramics business and just talked about everything going on in my life. And of course, this was a huge part of my life at the time, just losing all the weight. And so I was sharing my progress pics. And of course, one of my friends was like, what are you doing? And I gave her my coach's information, hoping she would sign up under my coach and I wouldn't have to deal with it. Well, at the time, I wasn't working and I was just solely relying on my side businesses to kind of make an income and some retirement money I had. So she knew that I needed the extra income. So she came to me and said, hey, your friend is ready to sign up. You can either get a one-time referral fee, or every time they buy a box, you can get the commission. And I was like, oh, well, what do I have to do for that? She's like, oh, it's easy. You just have to sign up as a coach. And so I was like, okay, how much is that going to cost me? And of course, it was like $200. And then $100 every year after that, just to remain a coach. So I said, okay, well, let's do it because I need the money. And I'm a walking billboard at this point. And I was like, maybe more friends will sign up. And of course, some more people did. But man, I felt kind of tricked into that because I had sworn off MLMs at that point. I was like, no more. And she was like, no, this MLM is different. It's so much better. Granted, I will give OPTAVIA that they are a little bit more generous than any other MLM I've been in because I've never actually made money off of anything in any other MLM. It works because it starves you. It starves you. Of course it works, but it's not good. It's not good long term. My hair loss speaks for itself, and my brittle nails, which are actually grown back now. They're so long, and I have different colored fingernail polish on. I was playing around with them. So here's what I learned coaching it, is that I had a lot of clients sign up. A lot of them would kind of fall off. They wouldn't answer my calls or check in with me, and then they would just stop, which I get it. They probably thought this program was crazy. What did I get into? And then just ghosted me, which is fine. Like, I'm happy for them. I didn't hunt them down. I just let them be. And some people backed out gracefully, which is fine too. Like, do what you want with your life. I'm not going to hound you. And that's where it like became apparent to me that I'm not of the ilk of these MLM Huns, because I wasn't blasting people in their inbox. I was letting people come to me if they wanted to know more. I was getting them on the phone. And I was trying to, do the sales pitch as best as I could, but if they said no, I let them go. I took no for an answer, and I was fine with it. People, do what you want to with your life and your money. And I wasn't dependent on this as my own income, so I didn't push it onto people. And I started going to all the Zoom calls and stuff, but I just noticed the pushy tactics, and I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to be a pushy MLM hun, so I just refused to. And yeah, I didn't make as much money as I did that first month of people like, whoa, you're a coach? Like, and they wanted to sign up and they didn't understand what that meant. I wasn't really a coach. I was a distributor. I didn't know what I was doing. I was just being trained by the upline who really didn't know what they were doing either. They just know the sales tactics. I even had some friends that were highly allergic to this program's food, and they had to send it back because it just did not sit well in their bodies. So just know that it's high amounts of soy, high amounts of processed protein, and stuff you probably shouldn't be putting a lot of in your body. So while I was trying to maintain my weight by yo-yo dieting, I decided to totally get off the program, stop buying the Fuelings. And I noticed that as I was becoming malnourished, I also developed this eyelid rash. And it was itchy and red and hurt so bad and swollen. I didn't even want to go out in public anymore. I couldn't even do anything to cover it up because it was like peeling skin off my eyelids. And I was like, what is wrong with me? And I'd been battling a little bit of a rash for the last 20 years, probably because I wasn't eating enough fruit, and I'll tell you why in a second. That was like part of the disordered eating I developed, was being afraid to eat fruit. So I was avoiding fruit, eating a lot of protein, eating fat, eating vegetables and stuff like that, and trying to maintain my weight loss, but becoming malnourished by the moment. And one of the strangest things was I got so obsessed with fruit. Like, I wanted to look at fruit online. Instagram started showing me all pictures of fruit, videos of fruit, fruit. So much fruit. And then I found a couple of other diets. And that's when I got familiar with mastering diabetes, and then went on to the medical medium and spent a month eating a ton of fruits and veggies. And I was vegan that whole month. Lots of really fresh, raw food. Oh my goodness. It was so wild. My eyelid rash just cleared right up. And I really think it's just from adding fruit back to my diet and like overloading my body with fruit. So it was giving it the vitamins and nutrients that it was missing. And that's where the eyelid rash started coming up. And I noticed it starting to creep back because I was not eating enough fruit. Well, I make sure I eat at least 2 or 3 servings of fruit a day now. I mean, it really helps, and it stayed away. Like, I haven't had any more eyelid rash since I healed it. So cool. So I started working out. I found some programs to start exercising, to start building some muscle so I could eat more food and not gain the weight back. And I found this amazing program called the Blitz. It's the Granite Bikini Blitz by Coach DZ. And I'll leave a link below to Fit Girl Club on Facebook, which is where the community is that he talks to about the Blitz. You'll definitely want to join that group. It's full of a lot of amazing women. And after paying about $400 a month on OPTAVIA, his Blitz is only $299. So it's 10 weeks long, awesome program, teaches you everything you need. And I jumped right in because I was like, yeah, let's figure this out. I really want to understand what I need to do in order to have the body I want. Because even after losing all that weight, I still felt like this big deflated balloon. And I didn't really have the shape that I wanted. I had a flat butt, I had saggy skin, I wasn't filled out in the parts that I wanted to be filled out in. I was just this skinny little rail that had no shape. So I did that program 1 year ago and then again in October that year. I have progressed very, very fast in the gym. It took me about 5 or 6 months and I noticed I was able to do 6 pull-ups. That was insane. I had never been able to do 6 pull-ups or 1 pull-up ever in my life. But where I struggled was with the food. I didn't know how to maintain a calorie deficit anymore. I was starving and I was craving food. So I found that I could maintain a deficit and lose some weight, and I did to look good for family because I was motivated for the holidays. But over Thanksgiving, I totally went crazy eating. And then I think for the rest of that holiday season, I just let myself eat. And I noticed I gained some weight back. I didn't eat enough. I kept putting myself in a deficit to punish myself for eating. So I noticed that I still was obsessed with food and still had these crazy cravings. And then I started reading more and I started looking into what fat loss really is about. I found some amazing literature to read from reputable sources. And I started training to become a personal trainer. I took a certification and passed it. So now I'm certified to train people and I'm taking a nutrition certification. But along the way, I learned what a calorie deficit was, how to get there in a sustainable way, and how to fix my hormones so that I wasn't obsessed with food and thinking about food all day long. And the answer to that was just to eat more on a regular basis. So I gave myself 2 weeks to eat at or above my maintenance calories. And I did. And at the end of those 2 weeks, I was finally full and I was finally no longer obsessed with food. Still to this day, I'm not obsessed with food. I used to think about when I was gonna eat the next meal and think about the next meal constantly until I ate it. And then I'd be thinking about the next meal. And now I forget to eat sometimes, so I have to remind myself, oh yeah, you need to go eat. I want to feed my body. I want to eat enough protein. I want to be able to build muscle, and I want to be able to heal myself from all the damage I did starving myself with OPTAVIA in order to get the results I'm seeing women get, that they did the Blitz a year ago just like I did, and they're having these amazing results because they didn't have to go in and repair their metabolism. So I know that I'm just gonna take a little bit longer to get there, but I had to repair my metabolism first. I just had to. And that's number 1 priority. Repair the metabolism, repair the mental health, get rid of the disordered eating, and get back to really just getting into a mild calorie deficit to get rid of any extra fat that I want to get rid of, or maybe keep it. I don't know. Feel comfortable in my own skin, maybe buy some bigger clothes. Because I don't know if I'll ever be that size 2 I was doing OPTAVIA. That was really skinny. And it probably wasn't healthy. So just getting skinny is not healthy. And everybody knows that. Even people doing OPTAVIA, they know that. It was me. It was really me that took it too far. But the fact that that was an avenue where that could happen is kind of scary to me. Like, I could have really starved myself to death. That is not enough calories. Not enough at all. So now I definitely sleep better. I can sleep from 10 p.m. to 5 a.m. now. So good, without waking up and having to go pee. Part of healing my disordered eating ways is that no food is off limits. If I want to eat something, I will have it. And I've learned how to work those into my macros as well if I'm in a calorie deficit and I want to watch what I'm eating. And just that one thing, not having any food off limits, has really helped me just to take a few bites of something and be done with it. Or leave food on my plate at a restaurant. Like, I don't have to clean my plate every single time that I eat. But at home, I put enough on my plate to know that that's the amount that I need to eat. So I definitely clean my plate at home. But at restaurants, they give you so much food. If you couldn't tell, I don't recommend the OPTAVIA diet or becoming a coach. If you're thinking of doing OPTAVIA, or if you're thinking of becoming a coach and you have a question for me that maybe I didn't cover in this, feel free to ask and I will totally be happy to answer your questions. The OPTAVIA diet is really for people who are medically in trouble and they need to lose weight fast, or they might die kind of situations. I don't think it's for a normal sized person to lose 20 pounds. I think that you could do that by hitting your macros and training hard in the gym, by progressive overload. Even women, yes. We're not gonna build muscle like men, but we do need to have muscle and strength to get us through our later years, be able to pick up our grandchildren. I'm so excited to be a muscle mommy. Like, my kid is 13 and I still have a long time yet to live. And to see my grandkids, possibly, maybe, if he has them, and be able to pick them up and run and play with them when I'm an old lady, yeah, I'm gonna be that. I'm definitely gonna be able to do chin-ups at 70. Yes, I will. What I recommend is good food portion control and progressive overload in the gym, proper training. And you can find that with the Blitz program with Coach Deasy. I gain nothing from recommending his program. I've just seen it work for other people really, really well. And it's the epitome of everything that I've learned from doing all my research, finally. And Coach Deasy is hilarious and he gives it to you straight. He doesn't sugarcoat anything. And that's what I love about him. He doesn't coddle any of the members. So don't expect to be babied. Expect to hear it straight. He will tell it to you as it is. And that's perfect. Like, some of us need a slap in the face to understand it's really just about hitting your macros and training. So go check that out. Link is down below. And that's my story with OPTAVIA. I'm sure I left some stuff out, but don't join an MLM because it is a predatory scam and it feeds off of your insecurities on every aspect of your life. So let's not do them anymore. Now watch this video. It's the next video in my new series. It's the introduction for Macros 101, Fueling Your Fat Loss Journey. I'm gonna take you through how I meal plan and how to find your own calorie deficit and basically everything macros. So if macros have been kind of confusing for you and you're just starting out, start here. It's lunch with Lisa.